Gaining muscle is very, very difficult. And what sucks is that sometimes you can go months without gaining size and not even know. Literally pissing away months of time. So whether you are in this scenario, or you are just trying to prevent the scenario from happening to you, or you just haven't made the progress that you've been wanting to make, then this video is more valuable than that old tub of 2012 DMAA pre-workout mixed with the feet pics that you sent to the old man on Facebook because he swore he would give you $3,500. This is more valuable than both those things combined, because as we know, nothing is more important than having big muscles. All of them are equally important. Not really. Some of them are very much not as important as the others. I'm just exaggerating that for audience retention, but they are still all pretty important. So let's dive in. But first you may be asking the question, why should I listen to your schizophrenic ramblings? If you guys you don't know, I'm Chimera Fitness. I've been lifting for about 5 to 6 years. I've made just about every mistake you can possibly make whenever it comes to muscle growth.
I read about...
And I have personally made every mistake on this video, and I don't want you guys to suffer the same loss of time that I did. I am both a meathead and a glasses-pushing f***ing science-based lifter. So let's talk about some of the minor problems first, and then we'll get into the major ones a little bit later in the video. 1. The first reason you're not building muscle is because you do not have a good supply of HTLT Turk built. I'm totally f***ing with you guys. The actual first reason you may not be gaining size is more muscle specific, and that is that if a certain muscle is not progressing in size, it could be because you're not actually training that muscle. As in, when you bench press, are you using your chest or are you using anything but your chest? This is referred to as the mind muscle connection, but it is the least important out of them, because I do believe that if you have everything else I'm going to talk about in this video in place, then you'll probably make gains, even if your mind muscle connection sucks so much that you would absolutely not beat the muscular dystrophy allegations. But it absolutely does have a place in your training. Source? What's your source for the mind muscle connection being valuable? Source? I made it up. Let me tell you guys a little bit of a story, right? So you see, for a long time, my shoulders and my triceps were very, very dominant muscles on my body. Coincidentally, those two muscles are both involved in pushing, so my chest f***ing sucked because my body was just way more efficient at using my triceps and my shoulders. I would never get a pump. I would never feel like my chest was sore. I would never feel it like it worked anywhere. I would hit failure on the bench press and flies and shit like that, but my chest, I could train it the next day. I could train it a couple hours later if I wanted to. I gained size, but not very good size, and I only gained size to a point. I only gained size until I was like mid-intermediate lifter status. But whenever I really honed in on my mind muscle connection and made sure my chest was the thing that was actually working on my movements, surprise, surprise, it blew up. It gained size. It's almost like if you have problem growing a muscle, making sure that muscle is being trained will make it grow. This is more of an intermediate advanced lifter concept though. So if you're a beginner, just ignore everything I said for the past minute or so. Exercise selection. It's number 2 on the list because it is more important than mind muscle connection in my opinion. However, the reason it's not as important as some of the other stuff on this list is because bad exercises can still get you to a certain destination. It's just like it won't be that fast. You know, it's kind of like whenever you're choosing which hand to, you know, give your wiener an old f***ing 5-knuckle shuffle. Sure, both will get you there. But which one's going to get you to that destination faster? Because let me tell you, nobody is getting their dream physique fast doing f***ing kettlebell swings. Actually, just delete the whole kettlebell rack from your brain. Literally, like, put the whole kettlebell rack in a closet, shut the door, and delete the skill of object permanence from your f***ing brain. So, what are my rules for actual exercise selection? So you should generally choose full movements. What do I mean by that? I mean movements where the exercise has a resistance profile on both the eccentric and the concentric and has a pretty decent one. You know, for example, like let's use kettlebell swings again. If you do a kettlebell swing, you don't really have any eccentric like loading. It's pretty much the concentric only motion. At least it doesn't have any centric load if you're doing it correctly. And if you want to be a true little nerd like me and stuff like that, and you want to make optimal progress like a Chad, make sure your movements actually are lengthened biased. This means make sure that the hardest part of the lift is the stretch position, and make sure the lift does have a stretch to it. If it doesn't have a stretch to it, eliminate it from your routine. So the third reason that you may not be gaining size is because you are not subscribed to this channel. But seriously though, I would really appreciate a subscription. Thank you guys so much for the support lately. We just hit 600 subs, and we hit 600 subs like legit a week after hitting 500 subs, which is crazy. So I guess thousand sub club, here we come. And if you could leave a like for the algorithm, it really does help. So the actual third reason that why you may not be gaining size is because of your volume. Volume is pretty important because if you aren't doing enough and you've been lifting for long enough, you may just straight up not gain muscle. Now, a general rule of thumb I like to go by is 10 sets for big muscle groups. Smaller muscle groups need at least 8 sets, but they can handle a lot more than 8 sets also because they are smaller and have less of a recovery window. I wouldn't recommend going lower than that for muscles if you're trying to grow them. Their maintenance is a different story, but I wouldn't recommend going lower than that if you're trying to grow a certain muscle. Now, there is room for nuance. Not everybody is going to have the same amount of sets that they can do to grow, especially depending on like prioritization and what muscles are putting down the back burner, what muscles they're putting on the front load. And also there's a lot of personal difference. For example, for me, I could train my calves and hamstrings maybe once per fortnight and half-assed if I wanted to, and they maintain their size. And if I do 2 sets, then they grow. If you do want to get the optimal volume, it's something you're gonna have to play around with a lot, and I will make a video explaining how to find your volume you should use. But until then, good luck. No, I'm joking. Here's a general guideline. Start off with 10 sets for each muscle group. If you can't recover from that, then reduce it. If you can recover from that, then increase it until you can't. And then eventually you'll find the maximum amount of work you can do while still recovering. And whenever I say recover from it, anybody can do in 30 half-assed sets. I mean like good quality sets where you are actually locked the in. You know, you're connecting with the muscle, you're using the movement properly, you are giving it a high quality effort, okay? And also, whenever I say can you recover from it, don't put out and lower the volume just because you don't want to do the work. If you do that, I'll literally chew on light bulbs. You wouldn't want that, would you? Damn, it's kind of crazy that science has figured out a way to make light bulbs taste like blood. 4, frequency. So this is actually less important than volume and exercise selection, but I put it at number 4 to confuse the people who tried to skip ahead to see what the most important ones are, which I know wasn't you. I know what you did. But I'm not saying you can't gain muscle mass with like bro splits and body part splits and stuff. That would be a dumb thing to say, considering people have been gaining muscle with bro splits since before my fucking bloodline. However, personal experience and based on the science, doing more frequent workouts is optimal. Like 2 to 3 times per week, sometimes 4 times a week for certain muscle groups is fucking fire. Let's use a simple IQ test. What's better than a workout where you have an awesome exercise selection, cool intensity, you get a great workout? What's better than one of those workouts? 2 of them. 5. Can you guys guess what it is? I bet you can. It is intensity. Push weight. And whenever I say intensity, I don't mean the just push to failure, bro. In my lifting philosophy, intensity means a lot more than just that. It's, are you tracking your workouts? Are you implementing progressive overload? Are you putting the effort in every time you go to the gym? Are you studying on how to make your workouts better? Like, put effort into your training. Lifting is a skill, so treat it like a skill and get better at it. Your body is not going to grow unless it has a reason to. Remember that. Also, don't be stagnant. Like, don't be ignorant to learning more about your training purely because it's hard. Push yourself both mentally and physically, and both will result in more physical growth. Be smart, don't be a bitch. Now, if you're looking for exact metrics you can increase to measure and stuff like that for your intensity, if you're a beginner, go to failure. Outside of that, go 2 to 0 reps in reserve, or you know, a RPE of 8+. And like I said in the last video, if you don't know what those words mean and you're a beginner, then don't worry about it yet. Get stronger week to week and track your lifts, okay? Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions about the exercise selection portion of the video, I think you should watch this video. It's about to pop up here on screen alongside my weeb music ass out.